How is it going, YouTube? Most Sports Network here again with another one of my NFL power ranking videos. Today, we're doing what I believe is the 28th team in the league, in the Miami Dolphins. We're just going to dive right in. Quick update on the channel, though, right before. Had some stuff revolving college, so unfortunately, some of these videos weren't coming out at the rate I wanted them to. That is a good thing for you new people coming in, though, because there will be multiple videos a day upcoming until the season starts in less than 3 weeks now. So that is pretty exciting. The 10th or September 10th is the kickoff. Kansas City, Texans. Woo, I can't speak. Hopefully I can speak through the video. This is my second time trying to record this. So, I clearly couldn't have spoken before. Dolphins are going right in. 28th team in the league. And they just need more talent on this team. They're not close, but they need more talent. I think the building blocks are there for something that could potentially be great in Miami, but they're just a few steps away. We're going to start with the building block I really like, which is the coaching staff. We have Brian Flores right here. He did really well last year with the Dolphins, in my opinion, winning 5 games with that roster he was working with. Just impressed me a lot from Flores. I make jokes on Twitter that he should have been coach of the year. Not even really a joke. With that roster they had last season, I think 5 wins is a miracle. And so good on Brian Flores for getting it done. Rest of his coaching staff, offensive coordinator Chan Gailey, defensive coordinator Josh Boyer. Not really any huge name coordinators here, but they'll get the job done. I like this mentality that Flores is bringing. It's this no-nonsense, New England Patriot, defense first kind of policy. I think the New England's shown that can work in the NFL, and especially with a brand new quarterback, I think Flores can show that as well. So I'm really excited to see what Brian Flores can do in his second season in Miami. So first coach really in these deep dives that I've been like, yes, really like this coach. And Brian Flores, I really hope he works out because he's done great things. Or not great things, he's only won 5 games, but I've liked what I've seen so far in Miami. So we move on to the roster. So we're just starting on offense. We're just going to go straight to the quarterback room. And this is an interesting room, an exciting room. Ryan Fitzpatrick last year, 20 touchdowns, 13 interceptions in a season where he didn't play all the games for Miami. And he came in and did a solid job, just like Ryan Tannehill always does. Like he did in Tampa, like he did in New York, like he did in Buffalo. He's done what he needs to do to keep his job. Now, is Ryan Fitzpatrick, the quarterback you want leading your team to the Super Bowl? No, he can't do that. Ryan Tannehill is the former Dolphins quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick, good for 9 to 10 wins at most. That's as far as he can get you, maybe into the playoffs, but he won't win anything. And so he's obviously not the end game for the Dolphins. It's Tua. Top 5 pick, tremendous upside. If he can stay healthy, he has all the upside in the world as a prospect. Younger than Joe Burrow even. I think he could be better than Burrow. I'm a giant Joe Burrow guy. I'll be wearing his jersey soon in one of these videos. But he's not ready. He was hurt with COVID. He hasn't had as much time to get ready for the NFL season as you usually would. And so, as many people are expecting, and myself, Ryan Fitzpatrick will start the season and probably go as long as until his play stinks, which has happened to Fitzpatrick in his career, or they deem Tua really, really ready to go. And they think, man, this guy is outperforming Fitzpatrick so much in camp, he has to play. And then also, not to downplay those two, but you have Josh Rosen, in my opinion, the best third string quarterback in the league sitting there. I think he will be traded at some point. Probably won't get much for him. You traded like a second for him. I can't imagine you get much more than like a sixth or a seventh back from him at this point, since he's been passed around already to the Dolphins. But he's there nonetheless. If somehow Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua both are unable to play, Rosen's there. Um, and I guess you get a little credit for that, having the best third string quarterback in the league. That you can get that ribbon this year, Dolphins, because I don't think you're going to be winning any Super Bowls. So to the running back room, nothing too special. Won't spend too much time. Jordan Howard, Matt Breida, new additions, and you have Kalen Ballage and Patrick Laird as your third and fourth string. Those guys carried a lot of the load once Kenyon Drake left last year to Arizona. And so the fact that they're the third and fourth string and now they have two running backs who are definitely better than them on the roster is an improvement. The running game probably will be better. Who am I to say, though, if those guys are better than Ballage and Laird and Walton in this Miami scheme and honestly not very good offensive line, but I'm pretty sure they will be just from Burrito's career with the Niners and Jordan Howard's across the league. They're not going to have any elite running attack. It'll be middle of the pack to a little below average, but they have bodies, and that's really what's important at the end of the day in the NFL for capable running backs, according to this ESPN depth chart. So we're going to move on to another group which was hit with a bit of misfortune, where Albert Wilson and Alan Hearns both opted out of the season as of now for COVID concerns. And so this really ends up being the can Devontae Parker and Preston Williams stay healthy show, because both of these guys have shown tremendous talent so far from what they can do, but that's kind of looking like that's it on this team as far as quality, like solid, proven receivers. And Preston Williams has only done it for like half a season, so we'll see. But Jakeem Grant's definitely a drop off from Wilson and Hearns. He'll be the third receiver on this team. And then you just have depth guys who I don't hate any of them. Isaiah Ford, Gary Jennings, Chester Rogers, Mac Holland, Ricardo Lewis. Nothing against any of these guys. But they're not going to be any game wreckers. And Eagles fans can tell you that, as they tried to feature Hollins at certain times. And he just wasn't cutting it. And that's why they have Jalen Reagor now on their team. As well as other guys. I think Isaiah Ford has pretty decent potential. All these guys could be that third receiver, I think. I wouldn't surprise me if any of them, other than Kirk Merritt, took that spot. Kirk Merritt would surprise me quite a bit. But Jakeem Grant, it's his spot for now. His fantasy draft stock is going up. So if you're in a 16-team league, I'd take a look at Jakeem Grant as one of your bench pieces. But other than that, really, Devontae Parker and Preston Williams. A tandem that, of the teams we've looked at so far, I think Parker and Williams are the most impressive duo we have looked at out of the teams so far. But also, we've only looked at 4 teams, and they're kind of bottom dwellers. I'd probably... D.D. Westbrook and DJ Chark are probably better than them too, but that's beside the point. The 2 good receivers, and then the rest is a big competition here between the rest of the guys. Also, looking at tight end, Mike Gesicki, he's done some good stuff. He had like almost 600 yards last season. I think he was around 570. So good tight end. I think Gesicki has potential to be number 1 tight end. Or a top 10 tight end in this league. I just love his potential coming out of Penn State a couple years ago. And another guy to look at, I know I'm just passing over Durham Smythe, just because I haven't seen too much from him so far in his career. But Adam Shaheen, he had a lot of potential, I think, coming out of college. He went to a really small college called Ashland in Ohio. Um, I really wanted to see him do well on the Bears. Unfortunately, he just couldn't get it done. As you can see, only 74 yards in the 2019 season. So I'm cheering for him. He's a great story coming out of a small school, hoping he can make it work. His second stint on an NFL roster. Um, so pretty positive so far, and I cannot stay positive because this offensive line, quite frankly, is doo doo. Um, Especially the interior offensive line, probably the worst interior offensive line besides maybe Cincinnati's in the league. Eric Flowers, Giants fans hate him. They love to hate him now. Um, he stinks. Ted Karras and Shaq Calhoun, a little less infamously bad, but still not great. And then you look at your tackles. You have Robert Hunt, who I believe was a guard prospect coming out of Louisiana Lafayette. And he is now, or I saw him as a guard. Now he's at right tackle for this team listed on ESPN's depth chart. But I guess it's up to interpretation. But him, along with Austin Jackson of USC, are two rookies. I think this depth chart is correct to have them starting because, quite frankly, they are better than whatever the Julian Davenport and Jesse Davis. So it's rough. You have two rookies starting at both tackle positions, and your interior line stinks and can't really help them grow. Bottom two offensive line in the league on this team, even with Jackson and Hunt coming in to maybe bolster it. Them and Cincinnati, between those two, have the worst offensive lines in the league. During the Cincinnati Bengals section of the power rankings, I might change my mind and be like the Bengals are definitely the worst. But this line just inspires nothing, and it definitely hinders you from getting things done. It's not even like passable. That's probably this line is the main reason I don't throw Tua Tagovailoa out there unless he's definitely ready or he needs to, because whoever's behind this line is going to be running for their lives. That's also why I'm not super huge on the run game because it's not good. And I wanted them to address a tackle earlier in this draft. And unfortunately, I guess it wasn't unfortunate for them to say, but one of the top four out of Jedrick Wills, Mekhi Becton, kid from Iowa, what's his name? Tristan Wirfs, and then Andrew Thomas. That was rough remembering those guys. None of them were available, so they took Austin Jackson. Unfortunately, they made the right position pick, but unfortunately, they couldn't get one of the four best tackles in the top tier of tackles in this draft, and so it will hurt them this year. So, quick recap of the offense. Quarterback isn't too inspiring, probably bottom half of the league at best with Fitzpatrick. Running game isn't great just because the line stinks. You have two quality weapons and then just hoping you can find something out of the rest of these guys, and then the line stinks. So not a great outlook on the offense overall. Some bright spots to be sure, but the defense is where I think this team has more of a chance of shining, and not necessarily because of the players. Just starting a discussion here about pass rush, because they don't have any premier pass rushers on this team. There are only two guys who had more than six last season. That's Shaq Lawson and Kyle Van Noy. And that's an issue, pardon me. Yeah, it's an issue to only have two guys with almost not even 7 sacks. You don't have a single player on this roster with 7 sacks, and that's scary. But Brian Flores has showed me that his New England, Bill Belichick kind of defensive scheme will work. They added pieces to this defense that I like in the offseason, and I think this defense will be able to stop teams pretty well. So looking at the front seven, Devon Godchaux, Christian Wilkins, and Zach Seiler. I don't really know anything about Zach Seiler. He has like 12 tackles in his career. So just everything on him is pretty much speculation at this point. And then I really liked Wilkins coming out of college, but can't speculate too much on him. I think he could take a step up this season in what I think is his third year pro. And then third or second. Maybe it's his second year pro. Yeah, okay, my bad. Second year pro. And then you have Devon Godchaux at nose tackle again. These two guys will be okay stopping the run. Pass rush wise, again, leaves some to be desired. Then you have two rookies directly behind them in Raekwon Davis out of Alabama and Jason Strowbridge out of NC. Yeah, just NC. Liked both of them coming out of college. They need time to develop, but I think sooner rather than later, these two guys will be ready to play at a decent level. Rest of these guys, not too much needs to be said about them. They're not going to be getting a lot of the playing time on this team. Jonathan Ledbetter was with the team last year and played minimally, but he is back. So that's your front three, like, run stopping defensive line in your base 3-4. And then you take a look at the pass rush, which is not great. You have Vince Beagle starting, as the depth chart says, and then Kyle Van Noy on the other side. I think Van Noy will continue to be productive and successful with Brian Flores. I think he was a great free agency pickup for the Dolphins. So I like him rushing the passer. Then Vince Beagle, he's young and has a lot to prove still. I think he only had like 2 sacks last year. But sacks isn't everything, obviously, as far as pass rush is concerned. So you have Beagle there, along with Emmanuel Ogba and Shaq Lawson, who are decent depth. And then another 2 guys I like, Andrew Van Ginkel, he was out of Wisconsin, and then Curtis Weaver. Both listed third on this depth chart. I think Weaver can get in and play some snaps rookie year, I think sooner rather than later. Really liked him out of Boise. And again, Van Ginkel, similar to Vince Beagle. Beagle, obviously, with a little more talent than him. But I think he can get in, get some snaps. I believe he had a sack last season for the Dolphins as well. So, but again, I kind of have to dog it a bit. I like the potential here, just because I'm giving Brian Flores the benefit of the doubt. They don't have a number 1, or I think Kyle Van Noy is the only guy who can pass as a number 2 pass rusher. I think on most teams in the league, Vince Beagle, Shaq Lawson, or Emmanuel Ogba are not sniffing as much playing time as they would in Miami. And that's definitely going to hurt because these guys don't have as much premium talent as you need to really compete with a position as important as the pass rush. And that's why I've dogged a lot of these teams I've talked about at the beginning, especially the Jets. The Jets, the Giants, the Jaguars, they get hurt pretty badly for me because of their lack of pass rush. And the Dolphins are no exception. Pass rush is extremely important, and they just don't have it as much as I want, although I think Flores can manufacture. Talking about the linebackers now, Raekwon McMillan and Jerome Baker, both out of Ohio State, I think are quality starters. I think Baker's better than McMillan. That doesn't really matter. I think those 2 guys are good, and after them, it's not too inspiring. Then you have Calvin Munson, Camus, not going to attempt that last name, Landon Roberts, comes over from New England. I believe he was in New England last year. Yep. He had some tackles there, but not a super inspiring guy. If Baker or McMillan go down again, this linebacking room is not going to look great by any means. But that's just what you're going to have to face on a rebuilding team. And I really like McMillan and Baker. So I think they can be a good 2 running backs in this 3-4 base defense. Now to a spot where I'm very positive on, and that is their secondary. And that's why I think that Brian Flores will be able to manufacture some pass rush with this team, is because they have 2 absolutely lockdown corners in Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. I think these 2 are monsters. Byron Jones was ridiculous with the Cowboys, top 5 corner, and I think Xavier Howard as well as a top, he's from the 5 to 10 range, I'd say. So you have 2 top 10 corners on your team, and that makes for one of the better secondaries in the league. You also have Noah Igbinoghene, a first-round pick. I think he's pretty raw, but he comes in, and I think he can play in the slot pretty well if you're not having Eric Rowe or I don't really see McCain doing it. And if you don't have Eric Rowe, Noah Igbinoghene, I think plays in the slot very well. And then listed at safeties, you have Eric Rowe and Bobby McCain. Also, do not want to dismiss Brandon Jones. He was drafted, and I have heard of some Minka comparisons. He's obviously not Minka in any way, but he, and obviously talent-wise, he's not where Minka is anyway, but he could be a player in a similar mold to him, to say. But Eric Rowe and Bobby McCain, not great safeties or anything, but again, with Howard and with Jones, I think the swagger of those 2 alone will boost those other 2 guys' play a bit. And then these other guys are mainly depth and special teams players as well. Also, taking a look at Nick Needham, Jamal Perry, potentially getting some playing time at corner. So, really like the secondary. Front 7's a bit more concerning, although I really like McMillan and Baker at linebacker to develop, especially Baker. Looking at special teams, Jason Sanders, again, punter lives matter, but Matt Hack is not winning you or losing you football games. So there is that going through the roster. Now we're going to take a look at the schedule. Now this is the first schedule where I think there are some things that could be favorable to this team and they could get on a roll. I would not be shocked if this team starts 3-0. You have a Patriots team that either is starting Cam Newton, who has barely been working with the team, or Jarrett Stidham. I think that's winnable. You have the Bills. In the AFC East, teams love to split series, season series. I think that's winnable in Miami. Jaguars, I think they stink. I think that's winnable. So 3 winnable games right at the beginning. Then it gets a little tougher. You have Seattle, San Fran, Denver. I think that's potentially 3 losses there. I wouldn't be shocked if they beat Denver. I think 3 potential losses, so that could drop you to 3-3. I think they probably win 1 and lose 1 out of this Chargers-Rams kind of set. So looking at around 4 wins, 4 losses at this point. I think Arizona's really good. You can interpret that. And then I think they split with the Jets. But we're looking around 5 wins at this point. Cincinnati, that's winnable. I like the Bengals more this year, but I wouldn't be shocked if they win that. Kansas City, no. I don't think they sweep New England. Vegas is definitely winnable, and I don't think they sweep Buffalo. So what you're looking at here, I think 5-6 wins is easily obtainable for this Dolphins team. And I wouldn't be shocked if they went 5-11, 6-10. I think that's pretty much what I'm expecting this team to do, is getting 5 or 6 wins. Upside is if the Jets really stink You play them in back-to-back games, which is really weird. Um, but if you like sweep the Jets, for instance, um, that could get you another win. If you beat Cincinnati, um, which I'm not sure who is better in that game, who's playing for what at that point. Um, Again, grabbing one of these like weird home games, like a Seattle, or you're not sweeping New England. Don't worry. Um, but I think 8 to 9 is like the peak, and that's obtainable for this team. At the first schedule, that's kind of a bit favorable to a team. But my official prediction, I think this team can win 6 games. I think like 4 is their low end, and I think like I'd say 9 is their absolute highest. Like a 4 to 9 range, I'm going right in the middle at 6. So that's what I have to say about the Miami Dolphins. So that is all from me today. So stay tuned until next time to see who my number 27 team in the league is. Thank you guys very much, and have a good day. Peace out.